before I begin, I would like you to spare maybe 3 minutes of your time to watch a video from students who have taken PTE and have had successful student lives abroad.
Treats all accents fairly.
It is approved by the Australian government for visa applications. Results are delivered fast, so there's nothing to wait.
The test is accepted across the board, so you can use your score as many times as you need.
Scores are consistent across each of the test centers, so you know you're getting a fair score.
Results are fast.
Test takers feel more confident taking a test on a computer rather than talking to an examiner.
The scores are more precise, so you see accurate changes every time you take the test.
The online videos and support materials are really useful to help you prepare for the test.
Use the preparation test so you can enter the test with the confidence you can pass.
Passing the PTE Academic Center gives you confidence in your language ability.
The test uses real-life context in a range of different accents, which means you are exposed to the content that you use in everyday life.
You can use the live seat search to see all the available options in your area.
This is super fast.
You can book the test up to 2 days in advance. As there is a large number of tests available, it means you can take a test around your commitments. Fair.
Fast. Approved.
Easy booking. Well, that's two words, but easy booking.
So as many of you already know by now, studying or working or migrating to an English-speaking country like Australia, New Zealand, Canada will require a test of English proficiency, a test that basically, let me stand in front here because I think I'm too tall for the rostrum. Okay. So migrating, studying, or working abroad normally would require you to take a test of your English proficiency. A test that basically certifies that your command of the English language is good enough for you to function productively in that country. You know, mainly because language is very important for you to be able to do anything, to accomplish anything in an English-speaking country. Okay? So with a few exceptions. PTE Academic, or PTE, as we call it for short, is one such test. Right? It was introduced in the Philippines only in 2015, and since then it has become the fastest growing test, the most preferred test of English proficiency. Right? And it is also, I would imagine, I would presume, to be the reason, one of the reasons why Phil Global chose to support PTE with their PTE Academic Center. Okay? In the next few minutes, I will talk about 4 main reasons. Next slide, please. 4 main reasons why PTE Academic is the fastest growing, the more preferred test nowadays. Number one, it is objective, meaning it will give you the most honest assessment of your English proficiency. Okay? And I will explain why in a while. It's accurate. Okay? It gives you a granular score. I will explain what that means in a while. It's fast. Okay? Theoretically, you can go from booking your test to receiving your score in about 5 to 7 business days. It's that fast. And for those who have taken other English tests before, I'm sure I speak for at least most of you when I say that the interview portion is usually the most dreaded part of the English exam. The good news is, PTE Academic does not have an interview portion, and yet it still tests your speaking skill. Okay? And I will explain how. In a while. Next slide, please. So what is PTE Academic and who recognizes it? Next slide, please. It is a computer-based high-stakes English proficiency test. By high stakes, we mean it is very tightly regulated, very tight security. Okay? It's used mostly for university admission, work, or immigration, especially in Australia and New Zealand, where PTE is pretty much the #1 English test. Next slide, please. So as you can see here, pretty much anything you want to do in New Zealand or Australia, PTE is recognized. In other parts of the world, in the US, Canada, Europe, it's mostly for university admission, at least for now. Next slide, please. It's developed by the world's largest education company, Pearson. Those of you in the academy are probably familiar. Pearson is more than 100 years old as a company. Our services cover everything from publishing to international qualifications to assessments. We have about 35,000 employees around the world in 70 countries. Okay? And we are committed to delivering products that make a difference in the lives of the learner, as what PTE does to those who are aspiring to study or work abroad. Next slide, please. So why choose PTE Academic? Okay, next slide. Number one, I mentioned it is objective and fair. Okay? Mainly because PTE is a fully computerized exam. It is administered by a computer and it is graded by a computer. What this means is, at no point in the exam are you being subjected to human error or human bias or human preferences. Okay? No matter how well trained a human examiner is, there are always weaknesses. Okay? There may be accents that the human examiner would favor. Okay? There may be preferences in terms of the way the examinee carries himself. So these are factors that tend to affect how a human examiner would grade the test taker. But in the case of PTE, there is none of that. It is fully automated. Okay? You can see in the picture here the test center in Makati at the Trident Tower along Hilpuyat Avenue. Right? Every test taker will have his own cubicle. You have your headphones and your microphone. Very tight security. There's CCTV cameras for every test taker. There's palm reading, biometrics, and all types of security. Mainly to make sure that you are taking the test for yourself and you are not taking it for somebody else. So next slide, please. PTE, I mentioned accuracy, I mentioned a granular scale. What you can see here is a typical test certificate that comes out after you take the exam. We will zoom in on the scores. You can see here, you are being scored on each of the 4 macro skills. listening, reading, speaking, and writing. And on top of that, you're also being scored or graded for what we call enabling skills. I will explain a little more of that in a while. Okay, next slide, please. You can see at the bottom the scores. It's granular, meaning it scores individual points. 10 being the lowest and 90 being the highest. And in between that, you will get a very precise score down to the single point. In comparison, next slide please. There you go. In comparison, the IELTS band scores in 0.5 increments. So you have 4.0, 4.5, 5.0, and so on. The question is, let's say you took an IELTS exam and you scored 6.0. What you're not sure of is your exact score. Are you closer to 6.0 or closer to 5.5? Or sorry, are you closer to 6.0 or closer to 6.5? You're not quite sure. And in terms of English language proficiency, those 5 increments are very important. They're very significant in terms of what you can do or what you can and cannot do with the language. But for PTE, it's granular. So let's say you score a 55, you will see a 55, okay, rather than seeing a 6.0. The equivalencies are there. IELTS 6.0 is equivalent to 50 for PTE. Okay. IELTS 6.5 is equivalent to PTE 58, and so on. Next slide, please. You can see also there communicative skills and enabling skills. These scores are very helpful if you wanted to diagnose exactly what you need to work on further. For everyone's information, the validity of a test, a high-stakes English test like PTE or same with IELTS and TOEFL, is 24 months. So if you are applying to study in Australia, okay, you take the test now, you study for 2 years, and if you want to work there, you need to take the test again. So in the future, if you want to take the test again, you will want to know what your weaknesses are, and this is what enabling skills will tell you. Next slide, please. Okay, one of the most popular advantages of PTE is fast. Booking a test is like booking an airline ticket, booking a flight to Boracay. You go online, you create your account, you select the available schedule. The screenshot I have here was taken from this morning, the seat availability search. As you can see, August 8th is the next available date. On August 8th, there are 3 available slots, 3 slots for you to choose from. Okay? So it's very convenient. Next slide, please. It's a single session, 3 to 3.5 hours, depending on the questions that are assigned to you. Right? As opposed to other tests where you do it on 2 days, separate days. One for the written test, and then another for the interview, which are usually several days apart. Right? With PTE, it's 1 session. When you're done, you go home and you wait for your test results. Next slide, please. Test results come out within 5 business days after you take the test. In fact, in the last 2 years, 8 out of 10 test takers of PTE worldwide, not just in the Philippines, received their test scores within 2 days or less after taking the exam. I have received reports from some students who took the test in the morning and got their results at night, that evening. So it's that quick. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, PTE is relevant. As you saw in the video, one of the testimonials there said that it tests you for real-life scenarios. Okay? The system of PTE is designed to accommodate over 150 different regional accents, so you do not need to sound like an American or an Englishman. You just speak the way you normally do. Okay? It automatically recognizes whether your writing is more inclined towards US English or UK English. The questions are designed around real-life applications, meaning the content of the test questions come from everyday everyday items. You will get questions that are taken from PTC, from the Financial Times, and so on. Okay, and most importantly, many of the questions that are in the test are actually scoring you for more than one skill. Next slide, please. For example, okay, you see here there are 20 different question types, and not all, but some of them will grade you on more than one skill. Next slide, please. For example, this is a question called Describe Image. You basically take a look at the image for 25 seconds, and then the next 40 seconds, you will speak into the mic and describe what you see in the image. Okay? Next slide, please. In this particular question, although it falls under the speaking section, you are also being graded for oral fluency and pronunciation, which means you are earning points for oral fluency and pronunciation more than speaking per se. Next slide, please. Another example, it's a question called Repeat the Sentence. Simply, you will hear a sentence, a recording of a sentence, and then you're supposed to repeat that. Okay? Next slide, please. In this particular question, you are graded both for speaking and listening, although it falls under the speaking test. Okay? Obviously, your ability to listen to that recording is being graded. Okay? Enabling skills, oral fluency, and pronunciation as well. Next slide, please. Filling the blanks, again. This is obviously a writing question. Next slide, please. Yes. But you're also being graded for your reading ability, okay? Your ability to decipher the content, the main topic, the main idea of this phrase. Okay? And at the same time, your choices will demonstrate your command of grammar and vocabulary. Okay? Next slide. Essay, obviously a writing question, but next slide, please. You're also being graded for various elements of the language, written discourse, pronunciation, vocabulary, and spelling, obviously, right? Also, one of the advantages of a computerized exam is when you're doing your essay, there is an automatic word counter. So if the instructions say don't go over 300 words, one look down at the bottom of the screen tells you if you still have enough words to use. Next slide, please. Okay, just to summarize, why is PTE the growing choice? Booking is easy and fast, online. Availability of tests, there are, as you saw, anywhere from 1 to 3 test sessions available per day. The test structure is a single 3-hour session. It's objective and fair because it's automated. The results are out in 2 to 5 business days. And the last part here is for submission unlimited, meaning you will receive your score online via email, which means you can forward those results to as many institutions as you want. Unlike a paper certificate where if you are given 2 copies, you can only go to 2 institutions. So these are the main reasons why PTE is fast growing in this country as well as other parts of Southeast Asia. Next slide, please. So test preparation, of course. If you want to score well, you need to prepare for the test. And that is exactly what Phil Global is launching today, the PTE Academic Center. Okay. So with that, thank you very much for your time. Yes, sir?
I have some questions.